Welcome to another Bluebird Chat. This time we are talking with Gail Sibley, the creator of the website How to Pastel. She will be teaching us about working with a limited palette. Today I'm so excited to have with me Gail Sibley. You're in Canada.
Yes, I'm in Victoria, BC on the West Coast. It's a beautiful place to come home to.
Yeah. Gail is coming to Bluebird Studios in June, and I want to make sure I have the dates right. June 4th through the 7th. It's a 4-day workshop, and we'll meet 9 to 4. And in a little bit, I'll go over, how Bluebird works with our workshops, what's included and all that. But meanwhile, if you're thinking of taking this class with Gail, if you're a pastelist, you know who she is, right? So, Gail, tell us a little bit about this workshop. Your teaching format, what you're going to be focusing on, and
I think the title of the workshop is Expressive Color with a limited palette. No, I work with a limited palette, and I have that sort of evolved along the way. And so what I have found is really, and everybody hears this, is that when you understand values or tones, when you understand the lightness and darkness of a color, your color can just be expressive and explode and be bold. And so really that's what we'll be focusing a lot on, will be really understanding values and doing thumbnails and getting to that sort of structural, it's like a structure below the crazy color you can do. So that's and a lot of people will go, well, I hate doing thumbnails. Why should I do thumbnails? And I was that way myself. I just thought they were just got in the way. And I I've learned along the way how valuable they are just to even spend 5 or 10 minutes creating that value structure, because with that you can then just kind of go nuts with color. It's kind of sounds a bit weird, but
no,
that,
no, that value changes everything. So
oh,
tell me real quick. This is just like for personally, but I'm sure other people have. Tell me about the thumbnail process. I mean, how detailed do you get? What is a thumbnail? What do you think a
oh,
thumbnail is?
oh, how I think of a thumbnail is, well, the actual description of a thumbnail, obviously it's not that small,
Mhm.
but I do thumbnails that are probably this big, actually that big, that kind of big.
Oh, put those up to the camera. Let me see.
I'm just working, one is a commission for a dog, and then this was just, actually, I've just got it drawn up behind me.
See how
This
beautiful that is, and you know exactly what it is. You know the
it's really about, and quite often what I do, and I want to do something with this. Actually, whoops, backwards. When I did this, I was kind of drawing up the dog, but it's really, a thumbnail is not about the subject. It's about the areas of dark, middle, and light. And so there's that place of, I want it to look like something. And quite often what you're aiming for is something that doesn't look like anything. All it is a pattern of dark, middle, and light shapes and how they work together, and if they're pleasing, or if that dark and light is really catching your eye there, and so maybe you need to adjust. So it's really looking at colors, simplifying them. I think of thumbnails as being both a way of selecting your values, because you're taking all these values in the world and squishing them into three. So you're making choices, what's going in the dark, what's in the middle, what's in the light. And those choices kind of create that structure, the underlying structure of your painting. And thumbnails are also a great place to work out composition. Whether you want to move, like say the dog, should I move it over a little bit, up, give it more space, make it smaller so there's more space. Also the format, square, rectangle, vertical, whatever it is. To me, this is a place to work everything out so that when you get to the painting, kind of all the hard work is done and you can go and have fun because you've got your map all set,
right.
uh, as opposed to painting something and going, oh, I should have moved that dog over. And then
So you only use three values?
yes, I'm one of those people who use the three values. I know some others will use four, or even five. I find the more counterintuitively, I find the more values I have to cope with, the more I have to think, the harder it gets. I'm all about trying to not think too much. So
So
it,
is white one of those values?
yeah. So the white, and that's why I like working on a white sketchbook. Sometimes on a
Oh,
toned sketchbook, but I find it, I don't know why, because I've been using a white sketchbook so long, I think. So the white is the light, and then, the middle value, and then the dark, just harder pencil. So those are the three.
so those ones you just showed us are pencil sketches. You're not using Tombow markers or anything.
No, they're pencil. When I teach, I usually ask for markers. You can't fudge it. You can't go. And then I
Right.
go, well, is that supposed to be dark, or is that supposed to be middle?
Yeah.
And and the thumbnail is for you. And once you understand how to use it, I think, you can, because I can look at those and I go, I know where my middle and darks and lights are.
If you did use markers, what percentages do you use?
Black, I've got the white of the paper, and then 50% anywhere, sort of
You
50,
just keep
40.
it really simple.
Simple, like a gray, a black, and then the white of the paper.
I love
And
that because
sometimes it's handy to have a white marker. I don't have one, but sometimes it's good if you wanted to block out. But I would always say just do another thumbnail. And the reason they're small is that you can do many of them. So that then it's then having your pastels organized into three values, three pools. And sort of then you don't have to think as much because you just go into your darks, middles, and lights. And that's why I say once you get to painting, then it's just
well,
dipping.
eh, um, how if it's a complex painting, can you do those three values with more complex subject matters?
Absolutely. Because it's the squinting and simplifying everything down into bigger shapes.
Okay.
And then as you paint, I think it was Doug Dawson. Was it Doug Dawson, I think, who said once that it was like and I love it. It's like you start with the mitten, which is just the very big. And as you're painting and getting more into detail, you start making all the details and you start breaking that up. So
So, okay, the limited palette, you're talking about color and value.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Tell us about then how do you stop yourself from grabbing all these luscious pastels?
you just don't have them in the vicinity.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so the first stage is the values, and then the next stage is really being able to layer. So we don't have paint to mix and mix in different variations of, take two colors, put a little bit of that in, it changes put a little B in and it changes it a bit. We don't have that opportunity. Every color, every stick is already a pre-mixed color, but you have the opportunity to mix those colors, to
Mhm.
layer. And so it's understanding, the next thing really is understanding how color works together. So the idea of complementary colors, when we add complementary colors, we can de-intensify. So we can gray them down. So there's that idea of using bright colors and being able to gray them, but also mixing colors, just that idea of yellow and blue will make some sort of greenish. I mean, that's very basic,
Mm.
that's the sort of easy, but it's playing with those layering of colors and every layer you make of, if you have um, yellow, like a pale blue and a pale yellow, and you mix them and it sort of makes a green. But if you add another layer of yellow, all of a sudden it changes every time you add. It subtly changes. And so really playing with those layers is how you get to be able to work with a limited palette because you have
Mhm.
the opportunity of mixing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so luminous. I love that when you put down when you put down like a beautiful, pink maybe, and then you take the same value in like a green, and then you just lightly glaze that, and you just get this look. You can't get that with paint.
No. So and you just mentioned the magic is layer value over value. So once you've got because it's the mixing of values that can really start to,
Hmm.
I don't think can muddy unless you really know how to use them well. So
Yeah.
I always say value over value, light over light, middle over middle, dark over.
Well, I just want to tell everybody a little bit about Bluebird. The night before Gail's workshop starts, which will be June 3rd, we'll have an icebreaker, 5 p.m., and that gives everybody, excuse me, a chance to come to the studio, get your gear set up, find your spot, meet Gail, get comfortable finding our studio. We're 7 miles from the Santa Fe Plaza. It feels like we're way out in the country, but really it's just minutes to downtown. Just kind of the logistics. I serve a complimentary continental breakfast every morning, which is hard-boiled eggs, yogurt, bagels, gluten-free bread, cereal, and coffee, of course, hot tea. So I urge everybody to get there about 8:15-ish because we'll start the workshop at 9. And then I cater lunches in to the studio. Now that's optional. One day we'll have a green chili chicken enchilada buffet. It's delish from Cowgirls restaurant in Santa Fe. And then the other days I'll bring in it's 4-day workshop. So one day I'll bring in fresh chopped salads and maybe some homemade sandwiches. And then the last day I always do my signature frito pie. That's a complimentary lunch. It's just a little treat I make for everybody. Anyway, and then one day, probably on the 6th, we will do we'll start a little bit early at 8:30 in the morning instead of 9, and then we'll break up 30 minutes early so we don't lose class time, and then we'll go down to Canyon Road, we'll tour some galleries, we'll go out for a group dinner, and that's just really fun. And then let's see, I have easels, tables, chairs. I'll have enough backboards. If you're flying in, I'll have gator board backboards for the pastellas. Everybody will either get their own table or share a 6-foot table with somebody else. Bonus, and this is totally optional, but we have 3 horses, and my husband, a lot of people want to ride a horse. So when I say ride a horse, I mean my husband will lead you around the corral. But a lot of people have really, at lunchtime, he'll saddle up one of the horses, and that's been really fun too, because we live on a little ranch in Santa Fe. So expect as far as then we'll do thumbnails, and then will people have to bring their own reference photos, or how will that work?
Yes, because this is an in-studio workshop as opposed to a plein air
Mhm.
workshop. So yes, yes, bring your own reference photos. I mean, a lot of people will just bring them on their iPads,
Yeah.
but of course print them out. I would say have a number of ones that appeal to you rather than maybe 3. I would say have a good selection because as we talk and go through this process of thumbnails and talking about composition and everything, what might have appealed to you at the beginning might not be the one that you end up wanting to paint. So that's what I've found in workshops. So it's better to have a good selection. Bring what you love to paint. I mean, go
Perfect.
with what don't, yeah, it can be anything because everything I teach applies to any subject matter. And so it's really, what do you love to paint?
Okay.
That's what you bring.
I love that. That's wonderful.
Well, my workshops tend to be shall I say, very exercise focused. So you come away with a lot of skill, like a lot of building your skills. And then of course we're going to be working on a painting or 2 or 3. And quite often it might be the same subject, your same reference done in a different ways, either compositionally or because this is really about expressive color, different color options. Like sometimes we just go for the most obvious, but there are other things to think about. Like, what is it? Why did you choose this? Is it because of the color itself, or was there something to do with light and dark, or there's the mood? Do you want to create more of the mood? Do you want to push that mood that you see more. Well, you can do that by being a little bit more expressive with your color, like your color choices. The main thing is we are the artists. We're not copying a photo. Yes, we use the photo as a jumping off, but it's really about what is it you want to express about what you're painting? What is a photograph? It's what I call the snapshots
Mhm.
that are they will have they can some of those snapshots can actually have 5 or 10 paintings in them
Mhm.
because the way you crop, the way you choose your colors, the way you push your value.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Really, those snapshots are the ones that tell the story, don't you think?
because there's something that caught your eye, and then you
Exactly.
want to and you go click, and then you look at the photo and maybe it's like, well, I mean, it's okay,
Right.
but sometimes the thing you've taken and what I find in my photos is that's the thing I took, and then I'm looking at the back and I'm like, oh, I love the way that figure is there with that light and and it's just this little other part that I didn't
Yeah.
even see when I took the photo. So
Yeah.
there's all these little parts that you can make a painting from. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. You don't have to have, the rainbow over the, ocean with a dolphin jumping and,
Like you say, print that and put it up.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm really excited to come to the workshop and
Wow.
to be with you in Santa Fe and your Bluebird Studios. I mean, I can't wait. Don't want to rush the year, but I can't wait.